She said nothing during the entire divorce hearing. Not when he accused her, not when he took everything. Not even when the judge was about to finalize the decision. But then the judge asked one unexpected question. And her answer didn't just stop the courtroom, it revealed a truth that changed everything. The courtroom was filled with quiet tension. People whispered softly, papers shuffled, and the sound of a pen tapping against wood echoed faintly in the background. At the center of it all sat Ryan Malik. A billionaire CEO. Powerful. Respected. Untouchable. Or at least, that's how the world saw him. Across from him sat his wife. Or soon-to-be ex-wife. Ariba. She didn't look like someone fighting for millions. She didn't look desperate. She didn't even look angry. She just sat there. Quiet. Still. Unshaken. The lawyers spoke for them. Ryan's lawyer was confident, aggressive. She has no direct contribution to the company, he argued. Everything Mr. Malik owns today was built through his own efforts. My client is willing to offer a fair settlement, but the claim she's making is unreasonable. Ariba's lawyer tried to respond, but even he seemed unsure. Because Ariba herself hadn't said a single word. Not once. The judge looked over his glasses. Mrs. Malik, he said calmly, do you have anything to add? The entire room shifted slightly. All eyes turned to her. But she simply shook her head. No, Your Honor. Her voice was soft. Calm. Almost detached. Ryan glanced at her briefly. There was something in his expression, not guilt, not regret, but irritation. He didn't understand her silence. He expected anger. Arguments. Demands. But not this. Because their story hadn't always been like this. Years ago, before the wealth, before the headlines. They were just two people trying to build a life together. Ryan had an idea. A dream. And Ariba believed in it. More than anyone. She was there in the beginning. In the small apartment with broken furniture. In the nights when bills piled up. In the days when failure felt closer than success. She didn't just support him. She carried him. Emotionally. Mentally. Sometimes even financially. She sold her jewelry once. Quietly. Without telling him. Just so he could invest in his first project. He found out later. And promised her something. One day, he had said, holding her hands, I'll give you everything. He kept that promise. But not in the way it mattered. Success changed things. Slowly at first. Then completely. Meetings replaced conversations. Assistants replaced personal calls. And somewhere along the way, Ariba stopped being part of his world. Until one day, she realized something painful. She wasn't his partner anymore. She was just someone who used to be. Back in the courtroom, the final decision was approaching. The judge reviewed the documents. The settlement. The division of assets. Everything pointed in one direction. Ryan would walk away with almost everything. Mrs. Malik, the judge said again, this time more firmly, before I finalize this, are you absolutely certain you have nothing to say? A pause. Longer this time. He studied her carefully. Then asked. Did you ever contribute to your husband's success, in any way that this court should consider? And that was the moment everything changed. For the first time since the hearing began. Ariba looked up. Not at her lawyer. Not at Ryan. But at the judge. Her eyes weren't filled with anger. Or sadness. But with something deeper. Clarity. Yes, she said quietly. The single word echoed through the courtroom. Ryan's expression shifted slightly. Surprise. Because this was the first time she had spoken against him. The judge nodded. Then please explain. Ariba took a slow breath. Not as someone preparing to fight. But as someone ready to tell the truth. I didn't build the company, she began. Her voice was steady. But I built the men who did. The room fell silent. I was there when he had nothing, she continued. When no one believed in him. When failure was more certain than success. She paused briefly. I believed anyway. Ryan shifted in his seat. Uncomfortable. I managed the home so he could focus on his work, she said. I handled responsibilities he didn't have time for. I supported him emotionally when he wanted to give up. Her voice softened slightly. I sold things I loved so he could invest in things he believed in. A quiet murmur spread across the room. I never asked for recognition, she added. Because I thought we were building something together. She finally looked at Ryan. Not with anger. But with honesty. But somewhere along the way. I disappeared from that together. Ryan looked away. For the first time. He had no response. I'm not here to take what he built, Ariba said calmly. I'm here to remind him that he didn't build it alone. Silence. Heavy. Real. The judge leaned back slightly. Taking in every word. Every emotion. Mr. Malik, he said, turning to Ryan, would you like to respond? Ryan opened his mouth. Then closed it. Because for the first time in years, he was forced to confront something he had avoided. The truth. He remembered those early days. Her support. Her sacrifices. The promises he made. The ones he forgot. And suddenly, all his success felt incomplete. He started, but his voice faltered. He looked at Ariba again. Really looked this time. I didn't realize, he admitted quietly. Ariba didn't react. Because this wasn't about apology. It was about acknowledgement. The judge adjusted his glasses. This court recognizes that contributions to a marriage are not always financial, he said. They are emotional, personal, and often invisible. The final decision changed. Not dramatically. But meaningfully. Ariba received what was fair. Not just legally. But morally. But the real change wasn't in the outcome. It was in understanding. Outside the courtroom, as people began to leave, Ryan approached her. Ariba. She paused. I'm sorry, he said. Not as a billionaire. Not as a CEO. But as a man who finally understood. She looked at him. There was no anger left. Only distance. And peace. Take care of yourself, she said softly. And walked away. Because sometimes, closure isn't about staying. It's about finally being seen.